Okay, hello everyone. So in this video, we will be discussing the basic input and output in DevC++. So it's basically the same with what we have discussed from our previous lesson, but here we will be applying or we will be solving mathematical problems, and we'll be doing that here in our DevC++ programming. So let's try to start, and I just press the Control N or create new project. So from here, again, the default codes that we will be needing are the hashtag include iostream using namespace std int main. And again, what's inside the curly braces of the main is where we will be inputting our codes. So let's say that the objective of our example of this video will be will be asking the user to add two numbers, or will be asking the user to input two numbers, and those two numbers will be added by the system and the sum will be outputted. So let's try to prompt the user that he needs to input two numbers. So here we'll ask, please input two numbers, and then I'll just have two spaces, and then here we will prompt the user to input the first number. So first number. So since we are asking the user for him to input the first number, then meaning to say we need to use the cin. Cin, this works to ask the user for an input, right? So we'll be using the variable num1 for the first input of the user. Next, we'll be asking the user to input the second number. So we have here second number, and then we'll have the variable num2 to catch the input of the user. But again, as you can see, we have two variables here, but we did not declare it yet. So we need to declare this one, and we are just asking for a number, so we'll just have a whole number. So that's int num1 and num2. So meaning to say these two numbers are only whole numbers and no decimal points because it's integer. So that's why it's num1 and num2. Now after we ask the user to input two numbers, then these two numbers will be summed up together. So we'll have another variable to catch or to store the result of num1 and num2. So let's say we have the variable sum. So we have sum is equivalent to num1 plus num2. So meaning to say if I input 2 here and this one is 3, num2 plus 3 will be equivalent to 5, and the 5 will be stored in the sum variable. And then in order for the system to output the sum, we just have to use the cout. And then let's say the sum is, and then the sum variable will be called. Meaning to say whatever variable that's inside the sum variable is the one that will be outputted here in our system. Now let's try to run this one, and I will be saving that as x1 or example 1. And as you can see, when we try to run, it says here that the sum was not declared in this scope because we only have two declarations of variables, which is num1 and num2, and we did not declare our sum. So let's just have it here. And for this one class, you can only separate the variables that you have in comma if they has the same integer. So meaning to say if num2 is not integer or not an int, then you have to code that one in a separate line or outside the semicolon of the previous code. So let's say double num2. So that is, and then you will remove that here. But if they has the same data type, then you can just do this one. You can just separate all the variables that you have in comma given that they have the same data type. Now let's try to run this one. So please input two numbers. So let's say 23 and 12. So the output should be 35. So when you press this one, it says here the sum is 35 because as you can see, we have the phrase the sum is, and then we call the sum in which the sum has the value, or it stored the value of the addition of num1 and num2, which is 23 and 12. So basically that's how we add numbers in DevC++. The same works with the difference or subtraction of two numbers. So let's say we'll change this one into minus. We'll change this one into diff or difference. So you also need to change your variable declaration, and as well as this one, we'll need to change that into diff. This one will also be the difference is, and then when you try to run that one, you'll have, if you input first number, let's say 25, and then we input 12 for the second number, so the result should be 13. So the difference is 13. Okay, the same with multiplication. So you have multiplication, and then we'll change this one into mul. The product is, and then we'll try to run this. So we have, let's say 4 times 5, that should be 20. So we need to use asterisk in order for us to represent that it's multiplication, and it will be a slash sign in order for us to know that this is division. Now let's try to change this one into div, this one as well, and this one. So let's try to run this one. So we have, let's say 26 divided by 2, so we have 13. So you just have to change this one into quotient. So the quotient is 13. So basically that's how we do the basic arithmetic operation in C++ programming. So you have to remember that you have to follow the required output of the problem. So if you are told to out or to let the user to input two numbers, then you have to let the user to input two numbers. And if you are told to display the addition, multiplication, division, and subtraction of the numbers inputted, you also need to do that here. So this one will be enclosed in a process. Okay, so this will be our output, output, input, output, input, process, and the output. So basically that's it for the basic operation. Now let's try to have different example. Let's say we will be solving the area of our triangle. Let's have the area of a triangle. So we'll be resetting this one. I'll just delete this one. Let's say we'll output area of a triangle. And then what do we need for the area of a triangle? We need the base. We need to know the base of the triangle, and we also need to know the height of the triangle in order for us to know the area of a triangle. Because the formula of the area of a triangle is, it's A is equivalent to 1/2 base times height, right? This is the area of the triangle. So now let's try to ask the user to input value for B and value for H. So we will prompt the user, please input value for B. And then that will be stored in a variable, let's say B. So we'll also need to declare that here at the top, int B. And we also need the user to input the value for the height. So we'll just copy paste that, and let's change this into H. So this one will also be changed, or will also add h in our declaration of variable. So now we already have asked the user to input the value of b and h. Now we need to proceed with the execution of the area, or the process for solving the area. So let's say that area is equivalent to, so we used another variable here, which is area. So we need to put that here in our declaration as well. Now, area is said to be 1/2 base times height. So you can either say 0.5. 0.5 is 1/2, right? So 0.5 multiplied by the base, or the b, this one. So b multiplied again with our h, so that is h. So this is now the process of solving the area of the triangle. So we have 1/2, or 0.5, times b, or the input from the user for the b, and the input for the user for the h. So now let's try to output here the area of the triangle is, and then we will be calling the area. So let's say, for example, I'll have a calculator here for reference. So let's say, for example, 0.5, and then I input 3 for the base, and I input 5 for the h. Again, 3 for the base and 5 for the h. So the output should be 7.5. So when we try to run this program, it would say here area of a triangle, but it's messed up. So we'll just separate this with lines. So as you can see, we have here area of a triangle. Please input for b. So again, it should be 3, and h is 5. So when the base is 3 and the height is 5, the output should be 7.5. Just what our calculator here said. So when I click or press the enter, it should be 7.5. But as you can see, it just outputted 7 because we only use the int for the area. Because again, it only display the whole number 7, because int is just catering whole numbers. But when we try to separate this one, the area from the declaration here in the integer, let's have double for the area. Then probably it will already output numbers, or result with decimal points. So let's try. Let's say 3 and 5. So as you can see, it already outputted result with decimal point. So basically, that's it for this discussion. And I hope you try something from your end and try to solve some other mathematical formulas, and try to solve that one using DevC++. So that's it for this video. Thank you, everyone.